Hi and welcome to Thought for the Week. And in this week I'm focusing on commemorating all of those who fought for us during the First and Second World Wars. It's Victory in Europe Day on the 8th of May. And so today I felt it only right to pop my little head out and say thank you. Now, it's 80 years since Europe was free from the Second World War, and that is a very, very long time. I remember when I was at school, I'm going to be 60 this year, and I remember when I was at school, we used to sing all of these war songs and all of these things. It felt like it felt very close actually at the time. And when you think about it, if I was growing up in the 70s, it was only 20, 30 years before that we had been freed. I know that there are many brave people out there. Some of them are still alive, but I don't think that the 90-year celebration in 10 years' time there will be many of the veterans left. So whoever is still alive, I'm sure that they've been invited by the King and Queen to a garden party or two at Buckingham Palace. I know there's a big procession that's going to be going up the Mall in central London towards Buckingham Palace, and then there's going to be a flyover later on today where we will commemorate and show our due respects to all of those who laid down their lives for our freedom, and also those who are still alive battling on today. And I'm sure that they would be very, very disquieted by what's going on in the world at the moment. We simply cannot afford to let ourselves in any way, shape or form go back to those types of days, to those two wars, those terrible world wars, which were atrocious and cruel and showed complete disregard for humanity and human and animal welfare. There were many animals that died in the First World War, in particular many horses, cavalry, loads and loads of dogs and all sorts of other animals that died in the face of battle. In fact, there are some lovely memorials and sculptures in London which commemorate the braveness, is that a word? The brave animals that stood with their owners and with the other soldiers in the wake of the terrible, terrible atrocities that they had to undergo. Such a cruel world. So there is no way on this planet, on any planet, on Earth, anywhere in the universe, that we want to retrace or go back to those types of very dark, very, very evil days. When I think about what's happening at the moment in Europe, so close to home, in Ukraine. In fact, I went on a walk yesterday and it was an eco. I'm now running the eco part of my church across where I live. And we organised an eco walk, and there are a couple of Ukrainian refugees there. And whilst they were smiling and they were sort of definitely getting into the spirit of the adventure of the walk yesterday and the picnic that we had, I had my dog with me, and one of them said, since I've lived in England, I've really, really realised how beautiful and how wonderful dogs are. And I'd really love to have a pet. I'd love to have a pet dog. And she said, but in Ukraine, where I was living, in the village I was living in, we didn't treat our dogs as pets, as part of the family. We just treated them as guard dogs. It's very different over here, she said. And I think that was really lovely, because she'd obviously, the compassion was there, and she obviously wanted to adopt a little moggy stray dog or something from the shelter, which I thought was lovely. And her daughter was there with her sort of grown-up teenage daughter was there with her. And it was I just thought, gosh, these people are here. They're displaced because of what's happening on our doorstep in Europe. And it seems to just be going on and on and on. And is it ever going to get resolved? I mean, we cannot allow anything like what happened in the First and Second World Wars to ever happen again. Now, I'm sure it will probably be a very different type of war. I mean, the biggest, worst thing probably that could happen, apart from obviously death and obliteration, would be cyber attacks and cyber war. So if there was a country that was powerful enough to bring down our banking systems, our weapon systems, our aircraft, our flight controls, all sorts of things like that, then we would be in big trouble. And satellites and things, that would be very, 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 very bad. I think one of the reasons that during COVID we had furlough is because people weren't working, that the governments around the world wouldn't have known that there would have been a massive civil war on their hands in each of the countries, because if people can't have access to food and money and shelter, then things start to very, very quickly deteriorate. So I don't know, I don't want to be a bit of a downer. I just want to really celebrate all of those brave men and women and animals who gave so much of themselves for our freedom, some of whom are still alive, still going strong, still with strong spirit, even if they're not as able-bodied as perhaps they were. That spirit and that love and that tenacity and that absolute loyalty and the wish for freedom and for protecting our human rights is still as strong and as fervent in those individuals as it ever was. And I do hope that when I watch it later on today, which I'm going to do, I hope that, and I know I will get a tear in my eye when I watch it, because I always get very moved by these types of people, the selfless, kind, loving souls who have given so much of their life and still find it very hard to talk about some of the things that they discovered when they came and they opened up some of the prison camps and the concentration camps and set prisoners free in Europe on Liberation Day, on VE Day, a victory in Europe. So as I said, that's on the 8th of May, but we are celebrating here in the UK on this bank holiday, this spring bank holiday, and I shall be joining a procession which has got, I think is going to have a brass band, which is going to be going from my church into the village, and we are going to be having a picnic out there. I hope it stays nice. It's a little bit chilly today. I think we're going to have a little bit of rain perhaps, but maybe it will clear up by later on this afternoon. And then I'm meeting a few friends. I'll probably take the dog with me, and I'll meet a few friends, have a drink and come home. So it's going to hopefully be a joyous day full of deep appreciation for all of those who lost their lives, full of joy for the fact that we are free today, and long may that freedom last. And let's hope that other parts of Europe and other parts of the world who are going through terrible war and destruction are free soon and peace reigns, because peace is what is needed in this world. So wherever you are in the world on this day, just remember all of those who gave down their lives and lost their lives and just make our lives free and better. And that's where my thoughts are today. So that's my little thought for the week, and sending everybody a huge amount of love and loads of peace for around the world. That's what I'm going to send out today. So lots of love. Bye bye.